coming to you from somewhere in New Zealand. It's The Global Show with your host, Dave Benson.
Hello in here. Welcome back. It's Monday, and this can mean one thing. You've reached The Global Show, the #1 independent talk show on the planet. And I'm your host, Dave Benson. Now, if this is your first time here, oh man, you're in for a real treat. This is a late night style talk show inspired by the bold idea of doing something. We're not entirely sure what that something is yet, but we're enjoying the process of finding out. What a week. What a week it's been. We are barely 2 weeks into January and the world is already spinning 2 steps faster than anyone asked for. Everyone seems confident, very decisive, very sure they're back in control, which made me look back, not at the year, at history. Because I realized there is a question no one ever asked. And I feel history demands an answer. Now, in his song, Hello, Lionel Richie says, "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" Now this raises an obvious issue. Did anyone ever respond? Because we never hear the other side of that conversation. No reply, no acknowledgement, no, "Hey Lionel, sorry I missed this, I'm just getting back to you now." Just him standing there, emotionally available and deeply patient. Look at him. The poor guy. Oh, Lionel. Hello. This truly means one of two things. Either someone eventually answered and we never got the sequel to that, or Lionel spent an entire song leaving the most vulnerable voicemail in human history. Now, honestly, both answers feel possible. So with that unsolved and Lionel still waiting by the phone, let's kick into the monologue.
Gears engaged, pressure steady, system at peak performance. Standing by.
All right, let's start with the news. And as always, these are real stories, which is important because if I made these up, I'd be required to log off and, well, talk to someone. First up, an emu escaped during a New Year's fireworks and disappeared into a forest. An emu. Now, this wasn't panic. This was premeditated. Authorities said the emu was spooked, which feels unfair because, well, fireworks screaming in the sky. They found him the next morning, calm, safe, and completely uninterested in returning. That bird saw 2026 coming and said, "Absolutely not." In Brazil, zoos started giving animals popsicles during a heatwave. Frozen fruit for the monkeys, frozen meat for the lions. Meanwhile, I opened my freezer and everything tastes like regret. And poor life choices. Somewhere a penguin finally felt understood. Pennsylvania crowned a winner of its annual mullet contest. Judges assessed length, style and commitment, which means somewhere a man looked in the mirror and said, "This isn't a haircut, this is a belief system." Scientists confirm dogs can learn words just by listening to us talk, which explains why your dog instantly reacts to, well, walk and treat, but pretends it doesn't understand bath. Dogs, they're not confused, they're selective. In New Jersey, a dog escaped, ran onto the turnpike, and was rescued using drones. Drones! The future is here, and it's chasing Labradors. The dog was found safe, mildly offended, and still believes it almost made it. Betty Boop entered the public domain this year, which means Betty Boop is now legally available for remixes, reboots and deeply cursed TikToks. Somewhere a creator is already pitching Betty Boop, but she's an influencer. In Germany, a surf park removed a wave machine and surfers lost their minds. Protests, petitions, rage, nothing fuels outrage faster than someone taking away artificial fun. A Mississippi restaurant installed giant lazy Susans so strangers can share rotating food. Now this sounds lovely until you realise nobody trusts strangers with garlic bread. Gonna need that back. In the UK, a baker called Mexican bread ugly. And the internet responded with the immediate cultural education and fury because insulting bread is how wars begin. At the Australian Open, a tennis player celebrated winning before realising he was wrong, which is the most relatable moment in sports history. We've all sent that email too early. Scientists discovered a natural sunscreen compound in bacteria living in hot springs. Now this means the solution to sunburn has been boiling quietly for some time now, watching us struggle. A new worm species was found in the salts, the Great Salt Lake, one of the saltiest places on Earth. I'm going to say salt a few more times, Tom. Salt, salt, Salt Lake, salt. Even worms have found a niche market now. Researchers uncovered a secret chemical war between beetles and trees. Trees are producing toxins. Beetles are hacking them. Nature is metal. Scientists reconstructed a 12,000-year-old herpes virus. You didn't mishear me. I just said scientists reconstructed a 12,000-year-old herpes virus, which is impressive, fascinating, and absolutely not something we needed back. And a famous fossil might not be who we thought it was. Even bones are having identity crises these days. What's happening in the YouTube world? Mr. Beast says he has negative money. Negative. The man who casually gives away islands checks his bank balance and it just exhales sadly. He says he reinvests everything and sometimes borrows money to fund videos, which means the richest YouTuber on earth is essentially running a global charity powered by debt, and optimism. Somewhere a financial advisor is quietly screaming into a pillow. Stephen Bartlett hired someone with a 2-line CV. 2 lines. Not pages, not bullet points, 2 sentences. Why? Because she thanked the security guard and followed up with better answers after the interview, which officially destroys LinkedIn. You can stop pretending endorsements matter now. The new algorithm, well, that's manners. A YouTuber went undercover at Best Buy pretending to be an employee. Now, this guy sold 2 products, helped real customers, and he actually lasted 45 minutes before a security escorted him out, which is impressive. Most of us can't find a HDMI cable without adult supervision. Security basically said, "Sir, you're too competent. Please leave." Kai Sennett uploaded a video titled, "I quit." The internet panicked, fans mourned, comment sections entered emergency mode. Turns out he's quitting stress, reading books and launching a clothing line, which means YouTube's most reliable genre remains announcement videos that announce personal growth. Jake Paul broke his jaw in a boxing match and is now medically suspended, which feels less like punishment and more like the universe gently tapping the brakes. Doctors say he can't fight until fully healed. Jake says it's just another chapter in the journey, which is impressive optimism for a man whose jaw is currently in 2 separate phases. Tech reviewer Mr. Mobile launched a phone that looks like a BlackBerry. Physical keyboard, buttons, full nostalgia. He calls it distraction-free, which is true because the only distraction is strangers stopping to say, "Oh wow, I had one of those in 2007. Drusky released a mega church parody skit that raised millions in fake donations. He played a pastor so convincing people almost prayed. The skit escalated into him being suspended above the congregation, refusing to let them leave until donations were met, which is comedy, yes, but also a documentary if we're honest. Dar Man continues to dominate Facebook and YouTube with moral lesson videos, short films where someone does one bad thing and is immediately taught a life lesson by a stranger in a hoodie. Dar Man has essentially created the Marvel Cinematic Universe of consequences. Adam Wahid keeps dropping viral sketches filmed entirely on his phone. Minimal setup, maximum payoff. Proof that the best production value is still timing, confidence and commitment to the bit. Harder than anyone else in the room, that is, anyway. Alex Cooper made headlines at the Golden Globes. The Call Her Daddy host crowdsourced her outfit choice for fans, which means podcast hosts are now red carpet figures. We've reached the era where microphones come with stylists. Talking about that, let's have a look at the podcasts. The Golden Globes added a podcast category and Amy Poehler won, which makes sense. Podcasts replacing television and then being awarded by television? That's the most circular thing imaginable. Amy joked about how many celebrities have become podcasters. That's bold coming from someone with a podcast. That's like opening a cafe and yelling, "Has anyone noticed all these cafes out here?" Jay Walker launched the podcast and a TV show at the same time. Podcast first, TV tie-in second, which is ambitious. I struggle to manage a calendar. This man launched an ecosystem. Emma Chamberlain rang in New Year's singing karaoke in the snow with Sabrina Carpenter, which feels less like a party and more like a lifestyle brand manifested into physical form. Somewhere a Gen Z mood board just reached enlightenment. A new narrative podcast called On Hold is gaining buzz. Each episode focuses on people waiting for results, for life to change, for answers, which is kind of beautiful. It's also exactly what podcast listeners are doing when someone says, quick story. Authors are also now launching books through podcasts instead of tours. There's no signings, no readings, just an hour of talking and hoping someone buys chapter 1. Honestly, that's efficient. Podcasting is now officially award season content. Between the Golden Globes and Industry Award, podcasts have entered their we wear suits now phase. Podcast studios now look like talk shows. LED walls, cinema lighting, zero applause. All of the production of late night with none of the validation. Radio shows are being chopped into podcasts immediately after airing, which means we now have podcasts of shows about conversations that have already happened. Time has officially folded in on itself. Podcast conferences are bigger than ever. Thousands of people flying across the world to talk about, talking. The medium built on intimacy now requires lanyards. So let's just recap. An emu escaped. Animals got popsicles. Mullets were judged. Dogs are smarter than us. Worms found their people. YouTube billionaires are broke. Phones, they're going backwards. CVs, now only 2 lines. Podcasts are winning Golden Globes. We are watching the world evolve in real time, and it's occasionally going to trip over on its own cleverness. And honestly, that feels about right. But it's not as clever as our guest today. Man, this is going to blow your mind. Tom, let's roll these titles.